Hello there, this is AgriTalk right here in the middle of Ololo Farm in Kajiado County, and today we'll be talking about poultry farming, and we'll be talking to Mr. Kevin Getobai, who is a poultry farmer right here, to give us the how-tos, the A to Z when it comes to poultry farming. Let's get right into it and look at what we'll be doing today. When we look at poultry farming, what are some of the things that we need to consider?
A poultry farmer should consider where to source the inputs. Number two, to understand actually like the whole process of rearing or raising the poultry. So either that ducks or chicken, you must have a good understanding of how to raise them. Number two, must understand the market and the market needs. And number three, the farmer must think of how to be sustainable. I mean, farming doesn't have, entails going beyond making money and taking care of your environment. I mean, the whole farm is an environment and it needs to be taken care of to ensure it's sustainable. So these are the things I think as a farmer, a poultry farmer should do or think about.
Let's get into poultry farming and look at a poultry house. What are the materials that a farmer needs to look at when setting up one?
Yeah, just to shed a bit of light, there are different systems of raising poultry. So for us here at Ololo, we're raising poultry in a pastoralist system. So the materials you need for this kind of system are different compared with the conventional system of raising poultry. Conventionally, you just need one huge structure. You create a battery system. So there are various technicians, people with expertise out there on how to create a battery system. It can be as simple using the available materials, either wood, metal, with closed in with mesh wire or chicken wire. So, but for our system that we're raising poultry on pasture, we have the first 3 weeks they stay in a brooder, and the rest of the time, the 5 weeks, they stay outside, so totaling to 8 weeks. So for us, the materials we need is a house or a structure to create a brooding unit. So in the brooding unit, we only need cardboard and a few pieces of wood put together, either in a square format or can be round for brooding. So the birds will come one day old, stay there, and then go out on pasture. And on pasture, what we need is this hoop-like structure that we call chicken tractors. So these, for us, we are making using metal. So just you need metal to create like a hoop house structure. You can either fix wheels to make it mobile, and then that's all you need. The rest you need just chicken and feed.
What is the difference between a pasteurized form of farming and the conventional one? What are the differences?
And doing a pasteurized system, the core focus is to ensure you cycle the nutrients. The chickens are on pasture, mimicking nature basically. Like the same way wildlife will just roam around the field, poop on the field, forage on the grasses, and then the grass will naturally regenerate. So we are mimicking the same concept here using poultry. So our broilers will graze in bunches in these hoop house structures. They will be moved in a rotational system on pasture every 2 days. And then in the process, they will drop their fecal materials, which will be nutrients to the soil. They will forage on the pastures, allowing the pasture to regenerate. In science, for pasture to keep regenerating and cycling nutrients, actually the process of animals coming in and chopping off the top foliage really helps to build stability of roots and to allow actively the plant to grow. So we are mimicking that and actually practicing that here on farm. So having chicken on a pasture system basically means you having chicken outside foraging in a rotational system on pasture. And the benefits to this, one of them is you're able to cycle nutrients. So that's beneficial to the soil in that it helps add nutrients to the soil. And that's beneficial to the plants. The plants are able to get the nutrients and actually regrow. And then it's beneficial to the animals because they are getting diverse of nutrients. Compared to the other system, chickens are just meant to feed on grain. Here they're feeding supplemented on grain, but also getting extras from the pasture. So those are some of the benefits of having this kind of system.
Right, so the chicks have stayed in the brooder for 3 weeks, the way you've explained. So what happens after this?
So once the poultry or the 3-week-old poultry are taken outside on pasture, they're kept under a hoop house structure that we call chicken tractors. Basically tractors because of the impact the chicken will have on the ground. So scratching the ground, adding fecal material, which is nutrient to the soil, and then foraging. So that's more like turning the soil upside down, just the same way tractors would do. So in that period, they will stay on pasture for 5 weeks. So basically what is happening there is this hoop house structure, or the chicken tractor, will be moved across the field. So we have an open field. We refer to it as, for chicken is chicken runs, for ducks is a pig run. So in this run, the chicken or the ducks will move from one point to the farthest end every 2 days. So moving from one location to the next every 2 days. So these tractors have wheels. So you just be dragged along to the next spot after every 2 days. The reason we're doing the rotational system is to allow the pasture or the soil to regenerate. So high intensity, low frequency. So chicken are there in big numbers for a short time, and then they are moved to a new location. So this helps with the regeneration. So they'll move across the field for the 5 weeks every 2 days.
All right, so regenerative pasteurized system of farming, what is its importance?
Looking at the experiences and lessons we've learned from practicing this for years, it's now been 3.5 years just doing the same system. We've taken our soils to the lab and have seen the transformation in terms of soil improvement. Our soil initially was, and you can see the carbon, the nutrient levels are quite low. But having the chicken impact, the nitrogen level has increased, the amount of carbon is building up, the texture of the soil itself. Our farm is in Kajiado. The soils are black cotton. I mean, they get cranky when it's wet. They get cranky when it's dry and actually get very waterlogged when it's very wet. So having this system, the texture has really improved. So you look at the fields now, I mean, the texture is better, it doesn't get cranky. I mean, has improved the water infiltration, it doesn't get so waterlogged. So for us, the soils have improved. I mean, the pastures now you can see, I mean, the grounds are covered compared to when we were not doing this before. So the pastures are actually regenerating. So the pastures are growing, and we've done tests to the meat. The taste is good. You guys will be lucky to try our chicken and compare to the conventional chickens in town. I mean, even the taste itself is better, but the lab results also indicate positive feedback. I mean, the amount of omegas in the chicken are really good compared to the conventional system. So all these are benefits you can get by doing the regenerative pasture system.
Is it simple for a small-scale farmer to practice regenerative kind of farming?
I mean, usually this conversation is the other way around. People asking whether they can do this at huge scales, because this is basically an integrated system. I mean, you're having livestock, instead of just doing the conventional system of just focusing on, if you're doing poultry, just think about poultry, poultry, poultry. But this system brings in an integrated system. Like it focuses with the soil, with the plants. I mean, I've spoke about the pasture and everything. So as a small farmer at home with 2 or 3 chickens, I mean, being raised in a farming community, I mean, people with small chickens, they don't even bother closing them in the whole day. I mean, they just let them roam out there. But let them roam out there freely, I mean, it's just free, you know. Compared to this system, they can easily create a structure and have their farm portioned to allow the chicken to actually move around in a process. So this will help sustain their enterprise, as in the chicken will just be moving from one unit to the next, and they will be monitoring the improvements and actually reaping the benefits. So this system is recommended for farmer at all scales, provided you have the resources. I mean, you have the small space to spare, and you can get your 2 or 3 chickens to start with, then just go for it.
Let's look at the challenges a farmer may face, a poultry farmer rather, may face when starting a poultry farming.
Starting off, there are a few teething issues that you have to sort. I mean, I can give you the best case scenario of what we've done and the challenges we face, but I tend to believe every farmer has his or her own unique challenges on the farm. And one of them will be basically like just getting the system working. I mean, you're either in a different environment. Like when we started here, the biggest challenge was we are just here in black cotton soil, and the pastures are not growing. I mean, how are you going to do a pasture system where there's no pasture? I mean, it takes time and patience to actually learn how to deal with your soil, how to make sure like the pasture is available, how to make sure that the chickens are actually able to move around that system efficiently to ensure that everything is actually happening. So one thing, there will be the initial teething issues, but also another challenge, especially to poultry farmers, is the continuous increase in feed costs. So for farmers to be sustainable, I mean, they have to look for alternative ways to cover, especially cost of inputs. So this system not only helps you reduce the cost of inputs, I mean, having chickens out on pasture and happy reduces, and I quote, the risks of infection, right? So chickens are happy basically, like people. So, and also, I mean, the cost of having to, in a hoop house, you just feed 24 hours. So as compared to that, they get a few supplements on pasture. So, I mean, the cost of feed can be a huge challenge to many farmers. I know of a few who had to close down with the recent increase. Another thing is, another thing I can think of is also the market. So you have to understand and actually build a model, a business model in mind before you actually dive into poultry, because I think everyone needs to make something out of their hard work.
Yes.
So you have to think of the market, think of who you're going to sell to, and think of how you're going to sustain the market.
A challenge like bird flu, when even doing regenerative farming, how do you deal with it?
Regenerative system actually helps like reduce the density or intensity of needing, I mean, pesticides, all the sides you can imagine. Like there's so many sides for every illness. So what you're trying to reduce is the intensity of that. I mean, the diseases can still come in. I'm not saying like we're blocking the diseases. The diseases can still come in, but as regenerative farmers and our common practice, there are basic remedies that we try and bring in. So one of them is to either use available herbs. So we've tried, I think most farmers will know a few remedies, plant remedies like aloe vera, to just kick in case there is light disease emergencies. Yeah. So that's one of the strategies we're doing, but also importantly, to avoid diseases is to make sure the system is working and is working well. I mean, making sure the poultry are not staying, the management system is working. I mean, the poultry are not staying in one place for so long. I mean, they're not congested. Make sure you follow the right procedures, the spacing, the rotational system. So everything has to flow easily for you to reduce the outbreaks and the need for the sites.
Look at the management practices of a poultry house. What are some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to poultry house care?
Is to make sure you have a food path, so where people can actually dip in, make sure they're at least disinfected, and then they come in. And for us in the brooding unit, mainly, you can see you're not walking in between the chicken or the chicks. So the brooder allows you an opportunity to be on the other side and just watch the chicken on the other side. So reduce the amount of, the interaction between humans and the animals. So reducing the spread of diseases, so that's very important. And also trying and keep the place as neat as possible. Cleanliness is the first thing a farmer needs to think about.
When we look at a brooder, what is the importance of the bulb that is hanging in between the brooder?
Basic setup, a brooder has to have some, to provide some energy source, to make sure the place is warm enough for the chicken to actually not die. Because any nursery or any brooder, the conditions have to be favorable for the small chicks especially. So for them to be raised for the 3 weeks, the light bulb is there to just make sure they give them energy. So just supply enough energy for them to stay active and vibrant. Especially at night is also used to provide light, because if you put chicks in one brooder, so many chicks, and there is no light, any triggers can cause them to just crumble together and just lie on top of other birds, and that can cause so many mortalities.
How does a farmer manage to maintain the temperature inside the brooder?
The structure is really helping, because you have to have a decent structure that can actually control a bit of climate. So they're not rained in. It's not get so cold. We can lock up the walls if we have to, if it's too cold. But the UV light is supposed to give them enough energy or heat when it's cold. So that's enough to, especially during the nights, they can be very freezy. So the bulb there is enough to give them source of energy. So if there is need be, we add extra. So we can easily put in either a drum with hot water, very basic things, either a pot, hot pot, and just to make sure the climate is controlled.
All right, so what capacity does a brooder hold? We've seen different sizes of brooders, so what is the number of chicks that can be held in one brooder?
Brooders are in different sizes, as you can see. We've customized our sizes to host up to 800 birds in just the same brooder. So, because we normally hold batches, come in broilers in batches. Before we go to 800, we had smaller brooders that were designed to host 100 birds, 50 birds as we are scaling up. So now we have brooders 6 meters by around 3 meters. So those are enough to hold the 800 birds. So in case we need to scale up, they are simple structures made of cardboard. So it's easier to just open up. In case there's congestion or you just see the birds don't have enough room, you just open up a bit. Yeah.
How many times do you provide water for the chicks in the brooder?
Water has to be there all the time. Any animal needs to have water. The chicken in the brooder we have to have water all the time, at night, during the day. So the time you're adding water is the time you're just seeing the the nani empty. If you see the watering point is empty, just refill with water. Ideally, there are different watering systems, so either you can use a tank and then there are drippers, and just use a manual watering can. So in that, you have to ensure there's always water in there. Yeah.
All right, you've heard it from Kevin. That is what you need to do. We are going to go for a short break. We'll be back with more right here on KTN Farmers TV. Welcome back. This is Agri Talk, and today I'm talking to one Mr. Kevin, who is a poultry farmer, and let's continue listening to what he does and how he feeds his chicks. Let us look at the feeding system. What do you usually feed the chicks?
We feed them on normal grain sourced from the local market. So, and the difference for us is we actually take them on pasture in week 5. So we still feed them on grain in the morning, and then the rest of the time they just get their supplements from the pasture. So this grain, either when they're starting off the first 3 weeks, the standard broiler starter, and when they're out in the field, then they get the standard broiler finisher.
All right, so what is the value of the black soldier fly to feeds?
Livestock feed can be very expensive. I mean, the recent few months, the prices have risen by about 30 or more %. So these can be very stressing to farmers. And there are alternative ways. One of them is raising insects, so-called black soldier flies. Their larvae are known to produce a more sustainable protein compared to the conventional soy and fish meal. So you can imagine what goes into producing soy. I mean, the footprint itself is very huge, and in Kenya there is no extensive soy farming. So soy is being sourced all the way from countries abroad, and that adds up to the costs of the feed. And also fish meal is sourced from our lakes, which are, I mean, you can imagine how the level of overfishing when you need fish for livestock and for human consumption. So that's why farmers have to think of other better ways that are more sustainable to producing protein. So one BSF, or black soldier fly farming, is a new technology, and it's gaining momentum because of the quick and sustainable benefit it has. And you're getting protein out of waste. So it's actually like going beyond supplying you protein to making your system more sustainable, more circular. So whatever you leave behind or would have otherwise considered as food waste that is thrown into landfill, and people you just produce either your chicken or you produce your veggies, they go to the table, consumer just eats. Once he's full or she's full, whatever leftovers are left, even the bones, are sent into landfill. And you can imagine how much emissions can come into a pile of food waste lying around in an open field. So as a farmer, by farming these insects, you're not only getting protein, you're helping to sink carbon. So, but to just focus more on the protein side, because this is the most pressing issues to farmers. The nutritional value or the protein content of these insects is higher than even the conventional. So in the conventional, especially in our markets, in the local feed suppliers, everyone is just doing all they can to just increase the quantities and supply you with feed. I mean, some of them go an extra mile to even just distort the quality of the protein itself. I mean, just to add some weight to it. Yes. So, but this is actually something you can actually grow on farm, simply with a stream of food waste, which you can easily get in the market. I mean, our markets are flooded with fruit waste, vegetable waste, everything to do with food waste. It's just flooded. The statistics are there, and actually the evidence is still there. So you use this food waste, grow larvae, which are then protein. In just a few days, between 10 and 14 days, you have your protein. You can feed it raw to the chicken, or actually dry it, simply either by sun drying or using machines to dry, either oven dry or use what is called steam drying. So various ways of drying. Then drying helps is to have a longer shelf life. So you can either store it and feed it to the chicken at a later date, or actually mix it into a feed. So we've been piloting these projects for a few months, and we're actually very confident from our recent trial that we are able to not only save cost, but actually make extra income through the sale and production of insect protein.
What is the difference between chicks that feed on the larvae for black soldier fly and the other chicken that do not feed on the black soldier fly?
The science that is out there, and from what we've actually tried and tested here on farm, I mean, the BSF, to start off, just complements the whole feed, makes the feed balanced. So as a standard poultry feed has to have an energy source, a protein source, source of minerals, and extras. So the protein source is actually covered with this insect larvae. So you're doing away with conventional protein and replacing that with standard protein. So what this means to your birds, they're having a balanced diet, just like a standard normal feed. So they're balanced, so you're able to actually get the end product. I mean, they will grow and get the produce. Number two is that since these insects are produced, you can produce them easily on your farm. I mean, the footprint itself, and it's able to save costs, production costs, by up to 40% if you're doing or integrating it on farm. So you'll be saving your input costs. And another thing is for the layers. Research indicates that if you're feeding them on BSF as compared to the other source of protein, you are able to get a boost of up to 53% of egg production. So, and then on the broilers, the meat side, I mean, the quality of the meat is standard, because they're actually feeding on actual real protein that is not been distorted.
All right, so we cannot talk about poultry and forget to talk about eggs. So let us look at the eggs, the difference between the pasteurized ones and the non-pasteurized ones.
Pasteurized eggs, I mean, the vision itself can tell you. I mean, cracking one egg from a pasteurized system and looking at another egg from a conventional system, the yolk color itself will tell you. You don't have to test it. You don't have to take it to the lab or anywhere else. You just see the difference. I mean, this is, I'm not sure what to call it, but actually, the pasteurized egg has, the yolk is actually yellow, a signification that is nutrient density in it, you know. So the taste is actually very good. So you can imagine poultry have been on pasture and have got a lot of nutrients. The omega-3 are very important nutrients that you all need, and these are in this egg. So the nutrition in this is more, and that should be actually be the conversation behind producing food. The nutrition, not even the size of the egg, but the nutritional quality of the egg itself. And then, as you said, you get more eggs. So more nutritious eggs.
What are the market trends in poultry farming?
Speaking of the current trends, especially in the egg section, I mean, we've seen in the recent past even huge markets, like can't mention them exactly, but if you see the news, that people are now, the wave is shifting to free range or pasture-raised produce eggs, you know. So because everyone has realized, I mean, these eggs are not just nutritious, they're helping to take care of our environment, and we are all experiencing the recent changes. I mean, the climate is hitting us hard. I mean, a farming system that is actually helping to address this crisis is better than supporting a system that is actually contributing to the problem. So the market is actually shifting to more healthy and more nutritious products, and that's why, like, people are preferring the pasture-raised eggs compared to the normal, the conventional eggs. And another thing is people producing pasture-raised eggs actually get like a premium price for this product, because it takes a bit of time and effort to get a quality product. So farmers get appreciated with a premium value for their product. So people still think this as a niche market, but it's actually growing, especially in Kenya. People are becoming aware of the issues around farming and the challenges of having unhealthy food. So statistics already indicate that 9 out of every 10 people is usually just wondering or just skeptic of what they're putting in their mouth, because they're not guaranteed, especially here in Nairobi. You can be sure 100% of what you're putting in the mouth. So you have 9 out of every 10 people have their doubts. But a few people are actually getting to aware and appreciating these new products that are more healthy. So I think the market will only grow, and more people should actually do this, so more people will understand, more people should appreciate better and quality food, so the market together can actually grow and people can actually shift our food system.
According to a recent report of importing eggs from Uganda, what is exactly the challenge that makes this happen?
Farming itself can be a huge challenge if it's not supported. A farmer has to be supported with resources. I mean, if the cost of inputs or cost of producing an egg is so high, why should anyone bother going into the poultry business or trying to produce an egg? Why he can easily just go to Uganda, get an egg, and still sell it or broke it to another person and still get the profit. I mean, why waste your energy just going all that effort? I think farmers need to be taken care of, starting with making sure the cost of inputs, the feed is actually like the prices are standard. So shifts in prices will easily make farmers just lose hope in production. So I think this is contributing much in us being dependent on products from outside. So more or less like a scapegoat, an easy way out. So another thing is farmers need to be empowered with knowledge, especially knowledge on innovative ways that can reduce cost and actually make their farming more interesting. And that is something that we all need to take a part in that.
Right, so your advice to a young person who would want to venture into poultry farming?
I mean, I would just tell young people to just go for it, because farming is the way out. Even like the pandemic really taught us a lesson. Like everyone had to eat, even despite them being sick or not going to work, they still had to eat. So, I mean, borrowing from this, we should all learn, like as young people, there is an opportunity for farming. And I mean, letting farming be for the old age, I mean, that's killing the whole system and the whole process. And actually, like, young people are the most active people, and they need food to be active. I mean, you can't really just always wait for just a simple meal, like having veggies on your table, being sourced all the way from Uganda or other country. I mean, this is simple knowledge, and anyone can easily do it. I mean, you just produce your own food, your own backyard. I mean, farming is not a dirty game anymore. It's actually where the money is.
Of course, we have a new government. What are some of the policies that it can bring in to support poultry farmers?
Any shift in prices distorts the whole poultry market. So these are huge blow to any farmer. I mean, so many farmers last year just jumped out of the ship because it was just flooded in terms of the costs that you need to actually produce. I mean, the government can play a critical role to ensure the stability in feed prices is consistent, for farmers to be consistent and to actually make money out of the business. The second thing is for the government to at least give a focus on farming or empower farmers to address the issues the farmers themselves are facing. I mean, the issues like the global crisis of climate change and food insecurity are faced here locally. And the farmers can be the champions and the solutions to this, not just the causes of the effect, you know. I mean, support the farmers in a way that the farmers can actually help to address these issues. I mean, our food system now is just linear. I mean, farmers are getting inputs at high cost, producing a product that is not very quality, and then taking it to the market, and people are not eating it because it's not either quality or people are just scared of the quality of it.
What would be the future of poultry farming from where you sit?
So I think we see so many opportunities. So especially the market is like 2 years or 3 years when you are entering the market. It was only like our system was considered just a niche opportunity, just to produce meat for a few elites in town. But now people are gaining knowledge, people are becoming more aware, and actually like opportunities are opening up. The markets are opening up. Few players are coming in the market and actually helping with advocacy and marketing of this kind of products. So we only see opportunities, and people becoming aware of the importance of having a healthy meal. So I mean, the opportunity is just, I mean, the market can only grow. So we see so many opportunities, and especially now we're seeing a government that is focused on agriculture, then we only see opportunities as farmers to get a consistent product, sustain ourselves as farmers, and actually enjoy farming.
All right, your parting shot?
You can't have food on the table if you can't take care of your soils. I mean, the soils are the genesis of everything. And for you to produce a healthy chicken in a pasture system, you need healthy soils for them to have healthy pastures, for them to have healthy chicken, and for you to eat a healthy and nutritious bird. So for the farmers, love your soil, interact with your soil, make sure the soil is healthy, and everything else will be healthy.
Right, we've come to the end of AgriTalk today, and I hope you've learnt a lot when it comes to poultry farming. Let's meet same time, same place, right here on KTN Farmers TV. This is AgriTalk, and my name is Kelvin Nyakundi.